guy. All right, let's jump right into it. Obviously, I mean, I think the entire country right now is talking about Senator Ted Cruz's complete embarrassment and debacle on the Tucker Carlson podcast. And so I wanted to get your thoughts on that. But then more importantly, let's jump into really what that has brought to the forefront. And that is Genesis 12:3. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, obviously it was just completely absurd for him to talk about how his whole life has been guided by this principle of God's going to bless those who bless Israel and curse those who curse Israel, and that is just his driving principle of his foreign policy. And then Tucker Carlson just asks him where that even is in the Bible, and he just has no idea. He doesn't
Yeah.
know what the verse says. He doesn't know the context. And of course, the verse does not say what he claims it says. It makes no mention of Israel. In fact, if he would have known where the verse is, Genesis chapter 12, then he would know that this is decades before Isaac or Israel are even a gleam in Abraham's eye. And so the person Israel had not even been born yet, let alone the nation of Israel. And so this verse in Genesis 12 is just being taken grossly out of context. And, you have to let the Bible interpret itself. And the Bible has a clear interpretation for this verse in Galatians in the New Testament. And Ted Cruz claims to be a Christian and yet just completely ignores what the Bible actually says in Galatians.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
I was going to say, we can delve into the actual text in Genesis 12 and look at what it really says.
Yeah, I pulled the text. And so let me read it. Genesis 12. And then what's the 3 part when it says Genesis 12:3? What does the 3 stand for?
Well, it's just verse 3. So
Okay.
I can read it. I got in front of me. It's
Okay.
Genesis 12 verse 1 says, "Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee, and I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing." Now, the first thing that I want to point out here is that in the King James version of the Bible, okay, it's very specific in the way it translates singulars and plurals, because in the original languages, Hebrew and Greek, the singular and the plural comes through. Whereas in our modern English, we just say you for everything. In the King James Bible, you have thee and thou for a singular and ye, you, your for plural. So, whenever you see thee and thou, it's singular. So notice he says to Abraham, the person, he says, I will make of thee a great nation. And then he says, I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. So what he does not say is, oh, I'm going to bless that nation. The nation's going to be the blessing. In the nation, no. He says, I'm going to make of thee, Abraham, a great nation. And he says, I'm going to bless thee. Thou art going to be a blessing. So the blessing is specifically to Abraham, the person. And that's going to become important. That's going to become important when we look at the New Testament interpretation of this in Galatians. Okay. Then we get to verse 3. It says, and I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. And again, I want to just point out the singular pronoun consistently, that the promise is made to Abraham. God's going to bless those who bless Abraham, the person. He's going to curse those who curse Abraham. Okay. It doesn't say anything about Israel in this passage.
Okay.
Want the full truth? Watch the full Deep Shallow Dive interview next. And hit subscribe if you're done with talking points and ready for clarity.